Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. As usual, the first thing that we have to remember is to what extent we have been able to refine our style of chanting. I don't mean the ragas, not the accompaniments, but to what extent it has been able to touch and kindle the feelings in us. Every chapter of In Quest of God he makes us to go through should enable us to give more and more clarity on the indwelling Almighty Lord of the universe. And when we get more and more clarity on Him, and when we chant that we are chanting that power's name, it will become more intimate, more intense, more. We will feelingly chant. Yeah, I don't know whether there is a word like that. Feelingly chant. No? Feelingly chanting, that can give only when we know what is being chanted becomes more and more clearer and clearer and clearer. When somebody gives you something, when you say, your expression will be something, that gives you the joy you felt. Similarly, when we are chanting His name, we should know, these are all the things. He came in the form of goodness, He came in the form of this, He came in the form of that. Such a mysterious power's name I am chanting. This is how the refinement subtly takes place in us. And every chapter portrays that. This should not be lost sight of. That is why first item is Ramnam chanting. Because after the session is over, we are going to hold on to the Ramnam chanting only, mostly. So by the time we reach, we pray to Him, make it absolutely thrilling and touching. Make us to chant with the innermost feeling. So with that bhavana, today also we will chant.
Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram, Jaya Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
And now, to reinforce our line of approach, every time we have a bhajan. This time we have a wonderful bhajan. Every bhajan is wonderful, agreed. And this wonderful bhajan is Vaishnava Janato. All of you must have heard it. It's a bhajan which Gandhiji likes most. Just like in the 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Lord points out who is my dearest devotee. Here Narsi Mehta, the Bhaktottama, he brings out in this beautiful prayer who is really the Bhakta of Lord, Vaishnava Jana. When we travel with the theme, if something of it remains, definitely when we go off the track, it will pull us up. So along with our Ram Nam chanting, bhajans also play a vital role in moving towards Him. So we will have Vaishnava Janato.
वैष्णव जन तो तेणी कहे जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेणी कहे जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तुए मन अभिमान नाणे रे वैष्णव जन भजन तो तेरे कहे जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे।
Spiritual luminaries, when they share their teachings and experiences, it gives clarity to many of the questions that might well up in the hearts of sadhakas. That is why Beloved Papa emphasizes that sadhakas should always have the company of noble souls, evolved souls. So today we have the Ashir-Vachan of Ma Devaki, Mataji of Sri Yogi, Ramsuratkumar's Ashram.
रामसुरतकुमारं देवं कामकाञ्चनमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् योगिं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। योगी रामसुरतकुमार, जय गुरुराया। My soulful, endless salutations to beloved Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabad, Swami Sachidanandaji Maharaj, and Swami Muktanandaji Maharaj. At the very mention of Ananda Ashram, I am filled with rich memories. The latest being 2019, when I visited the ashram after 31 years at the invitation of Sri Swami Muktanandaji Maharaj to attend the Centenary celebrations of Swami Sachidanandaji Maharaj. Imagine, after 31 years, I had entered the ashram, and the divine impact that came upon me was tremendous. There was such ananda in my heart, and I felt the vibrant presence of Papa Ramdas. His ananda reflecting everywhere, right from the soil, the plants, the trees, the birds, the very ashram atmosphere. And I also felt deeply the divine love that Mataji Krishnabad expressed to everybody. Her unconditional love for all the devotees. It is all embedded, deeply impressed upon the very atmosphere of the ashram. And this was my first welcome to the entry of the ashram. And as I began to stay there, the way people served with such love, it reminded me of the selfless service of Swami Sachidananda, reflected in the eyes of all those people. It's a living, vibrant service of Swami Sachidananda behind all those people. The very atmosphere of the ashram fills us with a thrill and joy. of the presence of all the three, the Trinity of Ananda Ashram. At the very mention of the word Ananda Ashram, my Guru Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, eyes would fill up and his voice would choke. 27th December. It's a golden day, unforgettable day for me, because I received special blessings from Papa Ramdas. It was way back in 1986, during Christmas holiday. I had come to Ramanashram for darshan of Ramana Bhagwan Samadhi. And there I came to know about the living master of Tiruvannamalai at that time, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So, two friends of mine and I went in the morning and again in the evening, and the next day again in the morning, and again in the evening, and again the third day in the morning. 5 times we made attempt to have darshan, but every time we met with a locked door. We did not get darshan at all. Though it was frustrating, for me the longing grew so much, I just could not leave Tiruvannamalai without having darshan of Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. So we made one final attempt the last day, the evening, and that was the time the house was open and I met my master, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, for the first time. The impact was great and glorious, and I had a very deep, beautiful experience in the presence of Sri Yogi. It is unforgettable, the impact of which lasted for nearly a week. And much later, I learned that it was 27th December, the Sannyas day of Papa Ramdas. Surely, this day was chosen for my first darshan of Yogi Ramsuratkumar by the divine Papa Ramdas and my own master, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. A blessed day for me. I was blessed with a very deep experience of the divine insight, a very blissful experience. It was darshan which changed my entire life, which changed everything about my life. I owe a deep debt of gratitude to Papa Ramdas, beloved Papa Ramdas, for his initiation into the first darshan with special blessings. After that, of course, I had to go through many changes, many trials and tribulations. The 7 years that followed under the tutelage of Sri Yogi. And 2 times, Sri Yogi asked me to go to Ananda Ashram. The first time, I had gone to see Mataji Krishnabad. It was a tremendous moment for me, because as soon as I saw her, I felt a sense of familiarity, and so did she. She smiled, her beautiful smile, and said, "Have we met before?" What a blessing. When I sought her blessings for my spiritual growth at the feet of Sri Yogi, she asked me, "What do you want?" inspired by her divine presence, and already my experience with Yogi, spontaneously I spoke without thinking, Mataji, I want to be like you, serving the Master. She smiled. She even exchanged a look with Swami Satchidanandaji, and both smiled. And it was then she started the description of this Kundalini Yoga. At the end of which I sought her blessings. And you know what she said? You have Papa's blessings. So again, I had the blessings of Papa Ramdas and the addition of Papa Ramdas in the form of Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchidananda Maharaj. I think just before Mataji's Mahasamadhi, probably early 1989, I went to Centenary Street House and begged my master, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, to permit me and come and stay in Tiruvannamalai permanently. He said, Anandashram is this beggar's ashram. Anandashram is your ashram. Go to Anandashram. It came like a bit of a shock to me because I was hoping all the time he would allow me to stay on in Tiruvannamalai. So I pleaded. I said, Bhagavan, your holy feet, your lotus feet on my Anandashram, please let me stay here. He said, no, you have to go to Anandashram. It was a command. Of course, I would love to go to Anandashram any time. But somehow, because of the conversation, I thought, okay, I will go to Anandashram, pray to Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai. They would grant me my wish. So it was with this determination I went to Anandashram, and Mataji was now bedridden. Her beautiful, smiling face looked a little different this time. And yet, I prayed to Papa Ramdas and Mataji Krishnabai that I should be allowed to stay in Tiruvannamalai near my master. And of course, I had their blessings because it came to pass. I remember another incident, a very glorious moment of gift of grace from beloved Papa Ramdas. After Sri Yogi shifted to Sudama, at Centenary Street House, he fell sick with a viral infection. So I went and begged to allow me to serve him. And I begged him to come to Sudama, stay for a little while until he got well. So he came to Sudama, and then it took some time for him to come out of the fever, and he was still very weak. The doctor said he could continue in Sudama itself. There was a lot of air and light, and it was away from the marketplace. So he came on November 22nd to Sudama. December 1st was his birthday celebration, and then January, the new year, 94. It was 4th January. I never told Bhagavan Yogi Ramsuratkumar about my birthday. But still, somehow, he always knew things without being told. He asked Sudama sisters if that was my birthday, and then he instructed Prabha, Srimati Prabha Sundaraman, to prepare some sweet on this special day. She said there was no sugar at all, and so she had to send somebody to the market. Soon a worker was sent to one of the shops. It was early morning, it was about 7:30 in the morning. He found only one shop open at that time, and he packed some sugar there and came back. When Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar and I were sitting in the puja room, I heard Srimati Prabha exclaiming in joy, "Oh Devaki, just see here. See here, who has come? See here. Come and see this." It was with great excitement she spoke, and then Bhagwan gestured to me to go inside and see. So when I went there, she showed me the wrapper of the sugar. She had just opened the packet and put the sugar in the vessel, and then she saw the wrapper. Usually we don't look that way at all. We may just throw the paper away. But that day something made her see, and that was a great delight, to the delight of every one of us. What did we see? We saw the pictures of Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchidananda. What a great fortune of grace. Immediately I took the paper and ran inside to show to Sri Yogi ji. He was absolutely delighted. He said, "Devaki, see who has come to bless you. See Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchidananda. All the three have come all the way from Ananda Ashram to bless Devaki on her auspicious birthday." And he went into peals of laughter. Uproarious, cascading laughter. You can imagine that great moment, the tremendous impact, the blessings of Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchidananda made on me on that particular day. Till today, beloved Papa Ramdas, beloved Mataji Krishnabai, beloved Swami Satchidananda ji, and now Swami Muktanandaji Maharaj, Ashram, are pouring their blessings upon me, and I still have the great privilege of getting gifts of grace from them. I feel so blessed, so blessed for this great gift of grace from the Trinity, Papa Ramdas, Mataji Krishnabai and Swami Satchidananda ji, to recall and reminisce those great years of blessings. I owe a debt of gratitude to Swami Muktanandaji Maharaj for giving me this great opportunity to share my feelings with the devotees. My salutations once again to Swami Muktanandaji Maharaj and Anandashram, the whole of Anandashram. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.
From today onwards, next few weeks, degree of IQG in a slightly non-traditional manner. As we witness the passing of every second in our life, it should rather remind us of the fundamental learning of life. What is the fundamental learning? Everything in life arises from somewhere, remains here for a while, passes after fulfilling its mission. Imagine sitting on a sandy beach, watching the endless waves that get formed in the waters, embrace the shore with untiring enthusiasm, and then beautifully return to the base or its source. This phenomenon is our very life. Everything that happens in our life, the people whom we associate with, the material things that we try to possess, name and fame we strive to achieve, pass. Everything is transient. Everything is in transition. Being formed, performing its function, and being transformed in the end. Though our life and all its ingredients are impermanent, it does not mean that they are insignificant. In any sense, everyone and everything in our life are here for a valid reason and for a valued purpose. Otherwise, God will not cause it, If we comprehend this essential learning of life, we would consider this moment as a meaningful moment to form new resolves and resolutions, reform our words, thoughts, and actions, and thus transform our lives. Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. That means whenever we happen to come across, handle, this should be writ large in our mind. There is a valid purpose behind it. We should not brush it aside. We won't be here for forever, that also we all know, for sure. So we better find a meaning and purpose of our very own existence and fulfill it well, sooner than later. Let us make a fervent prayer to the Creator to help us remain steadfast in our commitment of remembering Him in all our actions and seeing Him in all His manifestations. We idealize, we repeat this idea again and again and again. The Creator is not far away from His creation. In fact, He dwells in the heart of each and every creation. All we need to do is to love and serve our co-creation with a universal vision. Our heartfelt prayer is that the Divine within may bless all of us to be able to do so. Keeping the above thoughts in our mind, we will revisit the text in Quest of God and see for ourselves how it guides us to know the very purpose of our life. We are slightly changing the perspective, Reading the text, going through the text, trying to unearth certain values. No. Clearer to us that it is a manual trying to facilitate us with all that we have to know the very purpose of our life. In Beloved Papa's case, Ram kindled in his heart a keen desire to realize his infinite love. Exactly like that. to hasten our spiritual progress. We, his devotees, were also prompted by him to take up an in-depth study of IQJ from 27th December 2021. With this push, he through 1 hour satsang sessions via Google Meet every day and weekly exposure through 10 minutes video session from January to May this year, blessed us to become aware of the varied dimensions from the book which were not known to us till then. At the same time, this is very important, he also made us seriously think that while it took only 2 years for him to scale the heights, we who have been associating with Beloved Papa's teachings for the past so many decades could not move nearer to the goal yet. We now take it that probably this must be the purpose in motivating us to take up the in-depth study of IQG during this Sannyas Centenary year. And the study he facilitated so far helps us to think of identifying the areas where we have to improve, where we have to make amendments, where we have to shift the priorities, where we have to be alert, vigilant, where we have to plug all our resources which is now dissipated through our sense organs and the mind. Though it might not be possible for us to take up all points in one go, we can still try to take up either one of the points or a few of them initially. By intensely seeking his grace, we will make a move on points motivated by him. How to become aware of his grace? The first and foremost to strike to us as spiritual aspirants is the relevance of grace, God's grace. Papa says grace is pouring on all alike. Some receive it, some do not. Some people open the windows of their heart to receive grace and benefit by it, while others keep them closed, and so they do not get it. But even to keep the windows of the heart open, we require inner aspiration and longing which can come to us only through His grace. So that means, we cannot rationalize the grace. Do this, do that, then you will get. No. It is beyond the spectrum of rationalization. Grace gives you awakening, but realization does not come at once. Before fully realizing God makes you do severe sadhana. Others may think you are suffering, but the sadhana gives you joy. Though it gives you joy, still it is called sadhana. When Ramdas started on his first pilgrimage, he felt God had possessed him. This is a very important point Papa wants to focus on it. When Ramdas started on his first pilgrimage, he felt God has possessed him. People asked him why he had to go. Ramdas only knew it was all God's will. So when this consciousness fully dawns in you, that he has possessed, he is driving, he is piloting, he is motivating, he is articulating, grace has descended on you in all its fullness. And you begin to feel that you are nothing and God is everything. This supreme state can be got through God's grace only. Because somebody the other day was telling how to become aware of the grace. There is no formula that can be given out. But Papa says, when there is sadhana goes on, then suddenly we become aware by our initiative. He facilitated, he made us to well up all these points. And slowly he is facilitating one by one. Then we become aware of the grace. Since we do not know that divine grace is working through us and we think that we are doing everything ourselves, all our actions, thoughts and feelings get vitiated, as it were. When we root out the ego sense and God's light and power flow in us, we become conscious that the divine power is responsible for all our movements and actions. So this year we will confine to grace, which is the most essential part. You all remember, Papa says, the first word in the first article, it was about 2 years ago in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. This book starts with thrust on grace. So this week we thought grace is something on which we have to plumb deep, pray to Him. Pester Him to make us know of His grace. Balance, we will take it up next week. Hari Om.
Recap. Grace, main learnings. Point number 1. Although our life and all its ingredients are transient, it does not mean that they are insignificant in any sense. All events and individuals have a purpose in the grand scheme of things. Point number 2. Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. Point number 3. Pray to the Creator to help us remain steadfast in our commitment to remember Him in all actions and see Him in all of His manifestations. Point number 4. Grace is ever pouring on us from God. Point number 5. Grace awakens us and enables us to do sadhana joyously. Point number 6. Awareness of grace gives us the knowledge that God is the activating principle behind all events and individuals. In Quest of God as a Life Manual. Recap of points from chapters 14, 15, 16 and 17. Recap of chapter 14, Jagannath Puri. Main learnings. Point number 1. Equal importance should be given to the Saguna and the Nirguna aspects of the divine. Point number 2. Bhakti enlivens the spiritual journey. Point number 3. Saguna, when viewed from a different angle, is the height of Nirguna. Point number 4. When our devotion becomes deep, the external circumstances mysteriously become congenial for our spiritual progress. Recap of chapter 15. Christ, a messenger of God. Main learnings. Point number 1. Godliness cannot be restricted to any particular segment of people. Point number 2. God brings forth illumined souls in different parts of the world to guide and lead different people. Point number 3. Goodness is there in everybody, irrespective of their affiliations to different faiths. Point number 4. Respecting the faith of others aids in connecting with them. Point number 5. Developing a universal outlook is a gradual process of expanding the love circle. Point number 6. Develop equal respect for everybody. Recap of Chapter 16, Calcutta and Dakshineshwar. Main learnings. Point number 1, the thrills we get by reading the biographical sketches and teachings of Mahatmas are more than just momentary thrills. They are far beyond that. Point number 2, when our heart revels in the teachings of Mahatmas, the bodily suffering seems inconsequential. Point number 3, our reverence for a Mahatma should be based on the ideal he epitomizes. Point number 4, when our mind space is occupied with the values that are expressed in the lives of saints, we are then prepared to undergo any tests that may come our way. Point number 5, connect with the Mahatma through the ideal, not with the ideal through the Mahatma. Recap of Chapter 17, Taraknath Temple. Main learnings. Many times, we may be drawn into situations where someone may be mocked at because of certain behavioral patterns. However, we should try to empathize with the person and not join in the mockery. Point number 2, when we are tested, our love, which is expressed through service, should remain unconditional. Point number 3, never take anything lightly. Never look down upon any incident. Point number 4, there is a lesson to be learned from every situation. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.